No tag for Kenneth Walker. Breece Hall gets tagged with the franchise tag, non-exclusive. Teams can offer Breece Hall a deal, but that's not going to happen because a team would have to surrender 2 first-rounders to get him. This man's not getting tagged. This man is going to hit free agency. This man could be a New Orleans Saint, a Kansas City Chief, a Washington Commander, a Minnesota Viking, or he could have some sort of handshake deal and says, look, I'm not going anywhere. Just give me my money, and I want to be a Seattle Seahawk. I'm a Super Bowl MVP. Very rare to ever be a Super Bowl MVP and walk away and go to another team. Very rare for a team to allow this to happen. You know, so you do wonder if there's some sort of deal in the background where they're like, look, we're going to take care of you. You know that, right? And he's like, yeah, I know that. You know, I know that. You know, I know that. We got more room for activities. Let's not throw the tag on me. I'll take care of it. Why would I want to leave a Super Bowl contender? Seattle's got a little pull too, right? They just won a Super Bowl. They're like, you can go somewhere if you want, or you can stay here. So we don't know how this is going to go right now. We're going to break it all down. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. No rest today.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Kenneth Walker may be a Seahawk. He might not be going anywhere, but not getting tagged means that the Seahawks don't have control. And maybe they don't care. Maybe they say, look, we're the Seattle Seahawks. You want to move on, we'll bring in Rico Dowdle, we'll bring in whatever Zach Charbonnet we believe in, he'll be back. And that might be true. Whenever a player tears an ACL, we always kind of think doom and gloom forever because it just happened. Remember when Saquon Barkley tore his ACL in week 2, I believe it was, or week 1? He was not on, this is a while ago, he was not on Dynasty top 15 running back rankings the next year. People were like, in Dynasty, they're like, I don't want anything to do with them because people don't want to wait. Like Charbonnet could still rebound, and Seattle might be thinking that. But I do believe there's still a little hint of this thing is more of like a handshake. Don't worry, we're Seattle, is what they're telling him. And he's like, I know, I was MVP of the Super Bowl. I want to be here too because I want to win more bowls, baby. So there might be some mutual agreement there. But it doesn't mean that he can't get, wined and dined somewhere else. Just one visit. Sometimes these guys, they think they're going to do something and then they're like, well, just come for a visit, have a little coffee, have a chat. He goes over to the Washington Commanders and JD5's sitting there at the table. And JD5 goes, hey there, Kenny. How would you like to play ball with me? And then he looks at him and then he looks at his phone screensaver and sees Sam Darnold. And he's like, Sam Darnold is a system quarterback. I'm going with JD5. And he goes, let's do it.
Let him cook. Kenneth Skywalker. Kenneth Lightsaber Swinging Skywalker.
We have 4 elite running back landing spots. And maybe now a new, team. One's going to be taken away by Kenneth Walker. But then the Seattle Seahawks now emerge, which we haven't talked about yet. Really at all this offseason. Like, hey, one of the better landing spots in the league might be the motherfucking Seahawks now. Although I still think Charbonnet is going to be a big factor once he's back. But how long could that take? I mean, it's like a late ACL tear is different. It's just different. So now we have to talk about, and we'll open the phone lines here in a second, where's Seattle on this board if Walker was to leave? Now, again, Walker might be handshake deal, I'm coming back. But where would Walker, or where would Seattle end up being? You got to remember, Kubiak's gone. So while that means that maybe this team won't run the ball the same or even be the same team at all, they could be a middle tier team this coming season, or they could be a repeat type of a team. But Kubiak leaving is a very big deal, similar to Ben Johnson leaving Detroit. And that next year, Detroit sucked, which was last year, right? So if anybody thinks Seattle is just going to repeat with Kubiak gone, I don't know, man. I don't think they're going to. But the same concerns we'd have about running back by committee or what they fully intend to do might also be different. You know, maybe they don't want to run 2 running backs this year. Maybe Seattle does bring in a big name player. It's possible. And I say big name player, I mean like 1 year type of value in like Dowdle, or they draft a Jonah Coleman, or they draft a running back like Washington, maybe.
The Moon Men dropping low
M.
to
Wash?
outer space.
I can see M. Wash falling onto the Seahawks roster, but we do have to have that conversation about if Walker does end up actually leaving, where does Seattle rank on this running back board? I still think I would rather have Saints, KC, Washington, Vikings than Seattle because of the threat of the running back by committee situation. But Kenneth Walker most likely takes one of these spots if he doesn't return, right? And then Seattle maybe replaces that team or comes in at 4th. Vikings are intriguing. Maybe Seattle's better than Minnesota. Depends on the Minnesota quarterback. I always tell you draft players on good teams, and the Vikings are only going to be as good as their quarterback situation. Let's open up the phone lines and see what you guys have to say.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And we will discuss this topic and more. I mean, there's so much to go over. Breece Hall, again, got tagged, and he's probably not going to go anywhere else. He could via trade. He's not going to via tag because or via offer sheet, because because Breece Hall was tagged with the non-exclusive, a team can negotiate and offer sheet him. But that would surrender 2 first-round picks, so that's not happening. Could Breece Hall be traded? Yeah, but the intention of the Jets is to sign him to a long-term deal, but that could be posturing a little bit. They're trying to use him as a negotiating chip. And to be honest, with the Jets being more than 1 or 2 years away from being competitive, it doesn't make sense to sign Breece Hall, to be honest. I think it's a dumb move by the Jets. I think it makes, Breece Hall not as effective, although we talked about how if Breece Hall's going in this territory here, let me show you on the board. If Breece Hall's going, let's get rid of Genty and Jamar Chase, even though we love Genty and Jamar Chase. Those are our boys. You're my boy, Blue. If Hall, who's going right around here in best ball before today's news, he was going to return you first to second round value if in KC, New Orleans, etc. Washington, even Vikings, probably. So that's what you were paying this, and you were going to get this if he got moved. If you pay this and he stays in New York, you get this. So it's not bad. It's still good value. I still take him. But you might end up getting, going forward, Breece in top of round 4, mid round 4, and he could still return bottom of 2, top of 3 value. That is still a home run, total home run. Just not as big of a potential output. So, Bruce, you're live. Hello, Bruce. I might need to switch my audio over 1 second, my boy. Hang tight. Don't go anywhere, Brucey. Don't go anywhere. Let me just switch this over. Bruce, you are live, young man. I can hear you loud and clear now. What's up, my boy?
We're talking about Kenneth Walker.
Yeah?
The Raiders said they were going to go for another running back by committee. What do you think if he went with Kubiak and said, look, we and Jesse could fit?
I mean, it's
fine, and just run 2 running backs.
I mean, Bruce, you're not crazy to ask the question because Kubiak ran 2 running backs. We get it. I don't think it's smart because you're paying Kenneth Walker massive amounts of money, and you don't need to. You don't need this kind of running back. I think Kubiak's comments, while they could lead to something like this, and we're all shocked and mad and upset, and I could see it happening. Not very likely, but I mean, I can close my eyes and envision Bizarro World and be like, what in the hell is Kubiak doing? But I believe Kubiak's words are taken out of context a little bit. I think Kubiak's trying to tell you that I'm not going to run Genty into the ground. I think Kubiak's trying to tell you that I can keep Genty fresh. I think Kubiak's trying to tell people this is my Thunder and Lightning, my Sonic and Knuckles, my Jahmyr Gibbs in his prime Monty territory. Like when Monty and Gibbs were together, cracking heads, Gibbs is still phenomenal. I think that's what Genty is going to face. A Rico Dowdle, player like that, a Vidal, like something like that. It's a very effective, helper, but I don't believe Kubes is trying to put this thing into a 50-50 timeshare. Kenneth Walker would require so much money from a general perspective that you couldn't put him in a 50-50 role. You'd be paying him to be like your 60-40, and there's no way you're putting Genty as your 40 or even your 50. Genty's a 60-70% volume guy, and I think you keep him healthy if you've got a Rico or a Pacheco or something. But it's going to be Rico or Pacheco that goes to LV. It's not going to be Walker, in my opinion. But it's a good question, Bruce. And people, given Kubiak is the offensive coordinator, formerly offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, and now the head coach of the Raiders, it makes sense that Walker might have some breadcrumbs left for him to go to LV. I get it, but I don't think it happens. Good question, though.
I got a question on Breece Hall, too. And this is something that, does he have to sign the tag? Does he say, look, I just ain't signing the tag. I'll sit out the whole year. I ain't playing on that tag.
Yeah, so let me have Kruger explain the tag situation, because I think he'll probably word it better than I will. Kruger, explain the franchise tag. Breece Hall's been franchise tagged. He does not have to sign it. He's not under contract until he does sign it. But then eventually, isn't he forced onto the tag, and then he could hold out and miss game checks, right? Is that correct? Do I have that correct?
You've got the gist. So, after being franchise tagged, he's not under contract until he signs that tender. If he doesn't sign, he can't play and doesn't get paid. But there's no actual deadline forcing him to sign. If he holds out into the season, yet he'd miss those game checks. Eventually, though, the team and player usually figure it out, or it gets messy.
But isn't there? So that's essentially what I said. But isn't he kind of like I think he's forced onto the tag at some point. I don't know. If he doesn't sign it, yes, he misses game checks, but you can't miss game checks if you're not under contract. So I think he eventually, look it up, Kruger. I think you're wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he eventually, the tag's applied to him. I don't know. If he doesn't sign it, though, he's not under contract. There's no game checks to get.
You're actually spot on. If he never signs, he's not under contract, so no game checks, period. The team can't force him onto the field.
Okay.
Now the tag just sits there. If he wants to play, he eventually has to sign it or negotiate.
Okay, so yeah, so it's tit for tat. It's semantics, but essentially, yeah, there's no like missing anything at that point if he doesn't sign it. Okay, if he's not forced onto the tag. All right. So Bruce, what was your question?
No, it was for Breece Hall. It was if he doesn't sign it, is he going to be like?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Breece Hall's not holding out. I don't. Breece Hall is very, very positive, type of guy. He puts like, hopeful quotes all over his Instagram all the time. Like he's definitely not that kind of guy that's going to hold out. And nor do I think, you got to think about this, Bruce. If you're a team that's going to franchise tag him, if you're going to throw a tag of $14 million on a player, you're certainly willing to give them 12 to 13 mil a year, guaranteeing him, probably not a full 2 years, but something along the 18 mil range. And that's going to fall right in line with the tag. It's not like they're tagging him at 14, but unwilling to pay him when they're paying him 14 mil. And you also have to understand, like, he'll get paid less than 14 million in year one. This team can structure the deal very friendly. So it's in the best interest of the New York Jets to not pay him 14 million this year and to take this and say, okay, we're going to pay him 18 million guaranteed, but this is going to be stretched out and it doesn't hit the number this year. Now, then again, you could also say, well, the Jets aren't winning this year. Who cares what they're paying this year? But why would you? I honestly don't know why the Jets want Breece Hall. Because it's not like he's a spring chicken. It's not like he's an old man. but you are 2 or 3 years away from being any, if even that. I mean, we don't know if the Jets will ever be competitive ever again. but if you think, okay, someone can turn this thing around, it's 2 or 3 years. Breece Hall has maybe 3 years of elite football left. Why do it? Why not go try and hit the rookie draft pool and pull in a rookie and hit the lottery there, do it a couple of years in a row if you missed the first time? Why spend this money? Why make this commitment for Breece Hall? The Jets can't win. All right, back to Kenneth Walker, though, because that's a whole different thing. Kenneth Walker. Bruce, where does he end up playing football? And then I'm going to let you go and go to the next caller. Dial it.
I hope he plays in Minnesota, but I think he's going to be in Seattle.
See, you think he's going to handshake deal this thing? Okay. All right, Bruce. Appreciate you. Call back if you got another one.
Yep.
Later. Yeah, hard to say. I don't think the Raiders. I'll take the Raiders off screen here. I think the most likely team to go after Breece Hall at this point. And we might see this buzz circling everywhere in the next 12 to 48 hours. Just nothing but KC, Kenneth Walker. What do we know about this situation right now in KC? I'll tell you. We know a couple things that are real important to note. This man right here, Patrick Mahomes, who was the number one quarterback in fantasy football and in the NFL, kind of right up to leading into his injury. He had such a phenomenal year. He's back. Oh, Mahomes isn't a top 5 QB anymore. Yeah, BS. That's cap. Because he was the number one quarterback in fantasy for majority of the year. This guy's coming back from an ACL tear. His team has said, we need to support him. We're moving on from Pacheco, and we're gonna go strong at the mother freaking RB position. We're bringing somebody in. We're bringing in a heavy hitter. We're tired of messing around with this mediocre play, right? We need something massive. We need a player that can be that huge difference maker. And really, as Mahomes gets his feet under him, going through the situation that he's going through, they're going to need a player like Kenneth Walker. They can carry the rock, be an elite fantasy football. Well, it's going to produce to fantasy football scoring, but a total workhorse, put the ball in his hands, shoulder the workload. Now, do I fear that Walker could get injured at some point? Where's my damn Walker graphic? There it is. Do I feel like Walker could get injured at some point? Because he's injury prone, and part of why he stayed healthy was the fact that he, didn't have to necessarily shoulder the whole workload all year, and then he was remarkable at the end of the year. That's a possibility. But this is a big enough name. He's Super Bowl MVP. The Chiefs need a running back. The Chiefs are committed to getting a running back. The Chiefs want to go big at running back. Etienne, Walker, the Jeremiah Love, if he was to fall. It'll be interesting what they do at number 9 if, in fact, they do bring Walker in and then all of a sudden Love is there at 9. I don't think they'd take both, but that would be depressing for them. I don't think Love will fall to 9 now. It's trending as though Love's has a likely chance of going 3, 4, 7, or 8 before he ever falls to 9. But you wonder if at that point KC takes a Tate if they're worried about what's going on with Rashee Rice again. Rice is just a mess right now. But that's this is interesting, man. I Walker, if I had to guess, I would have earlier on, like months ago, guessed that Breece Hall would not be tagged and Walker would be tagged. But now we have the flip going on. Call into the
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Trone says Kenneth Walker is not going to KC. Sorry, but you don't really know that information, Trone. No offense. Titans are also drafting Love. Very good chance they do. KC may end up with Pollard or someone. No, Pollard's not better than Pacheco, so that's not it. I could see him maybe looking at Rico, but Trone, you got it all twisted there. Phoenix needs a running back. It's not Phoenix, Joe. It's Arizona. They're the Arizona Cardinals, not the Phoenix Cardinals. But Arizona Arizona, I would be fine with it. I don't want it. I'd rather him go to New Orleans, and I don't think with the Cardinals cap on ever. I'm never going to choose the Cardinals over fantasy football production ever, because that's what this is what I do. I live this and wear this hat more than I wear that hat. So I'm on the lookout to protect fantasy football at all costs. But if he did go to Arizona, Jeremiah Love, I worry about Hackett being there, but I also know that you're not taking Jeremiah Love 3. Like LaFleur won't allow it and not use him. And since LaFleur is calling plays, Hackett can only do so much wrong. It's kind of like, he doesn't even have a parking spot or an iPad. He's just kind of like hanging out like Bieniemy. I think the Cardinals could survive that. And LaFleur calling plays, drafting Love, I'd be okay with it, especially if Brissett's the starting quarterback and Kyler looks like he's as good as gone. They haven't been the Phoenix Cardinals since the Tecmo Day Bowls. Techno Bowl days, yes. Tecmo. I love Tecmo Bowl. I'd always be Bo Jackson and go up and down. Nobody could catch me. I don't know if the phone lines are working or not, but dial in. I have some missed calls, so I see people are calling in, but I might have had to restart them. I think they're good now.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Such an interesting day already. Let me see if there's any other news worth talking about right now. It's a lot of the Breece Hall clarification, a lot of Kenny Walker clarification. Vikings are now open to trading Jonathan Bernard. Wow. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Breece Hall posted a message on X. He just said, "Always been the type to bet on myself. Been working. See you all soon." That's coming from Breece Hall on social. More Kenneth Walker won't be tagged. Photo of Shador. This is what Rappaport just posted on X right now, of Shador and Munkin standing there. I don't know what that's about, but Breece Hall. Yep, nothing new. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker are the big pieces of news. Let me go over to Rumble real quick, see what my Rumblers are saying. We're at how many? What are we at on Rumble? We're at 5.31K. 5.3K. I've got 420 man. 420 man, go check out yourself. Whoever's the highest super chatter of the year is going to be in the trade calculator on thefantasyfootballshow.com, which is such a fun little idea I thought of the other day. Where if you're, I think this is, let me see if I can find the trade calculator. I think it's right here. So 420 man, see right there on the left, you got to search for yourself. You're not in the drop down, but if you search for 4, just type in 4 or 420 or 420 man, just type in 4, you'll see yourself in there. And you're worth $1,000. And I tried to trade you for Gibbs. You could try it yourself. Try and trade yourself. I tried to trade yourself for Gibbs, JSN, Bijan, Puka, and Jamar Chase, and it said, do not do this trade. And then down below it says, this trade will destroy you. Do not give up 420 man under any circumstances. 420 man is irreplaceable, and no amount of fantasy value can compensate for the loss. If you want to be in the trade calculator, and I'm going to rotate it out all year, the highest super chatter of the year at the moment will be in that spot. So right now it's 420 man with, I think it was a $210 crypto tip over on Rumble. So if anybody wants to up that, boom. And anybody does the $200 crypto tip over there on Rumble through the wallet, the Rumble wallet. If anybody does the $200 one, is in the Wild Wild West draft. So that's how you can definitely get into the Wild Wild West draft. But if you do top the 210, a 208, I think it was 208, then you will be the highest super chat of the year. And it'll be a sad day, but we will have to take 420 out of the trade calculator and put whoever beats out 420 man and becomes a trade calculator monster. 420 man, go start calculating yourself in there unless somebody knocks you out right now, bro. You don't want someone to knock you out of the trade calculator on your first day in there. So go check it out. So if anybody wants to be in the fantasyfootballshow.com trade calculator, all you got to do is be the highest super chatter of the year. And you can go knock yourself out, do trade after trade, see what you're worth. Try and compile the biggest trade there is a way to eventually trade you. You just have to accumulate enough value. Look at all this value here. Gibbs, JSN, Bijan, Puka, and Jamar Chase account for $353 auction dollars. We're not even halfway there. But you can eventually trade yourself and it'll get accepted. All right, guys. Let's get one or two phone.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
New Age Outlaw, appreciate you being over on the Rumble. USAF, appreciate you. 420 man Aldi. New Age, you're the man, bro. Thank you guys for being on Rumble. Please hit that like button over on Rumble too. A lot of you guys aren't hitting the like button on Rumble, and that we do need to do that. That is very helpful if you could do that, please. You're live. Who is this? Where are you calling from?
Mike from San Diego, Smitty.
What's up?
Yeah, do we have an idea of what Kenneth Walker is asking for annually on this contract? Because I don't really understand why Seattle is, waiting so long to get this done. I mean, he proved himself this year.
Well, waiting so long. It sounds like they're letting him potentially go sniff, other territories. Let me hold on a second. Let me merge Travis in. Or who is this? Not Travis. This is I think this is. I don't know. Rock out. Hang tight, real quick for me. Rock out. I mean, he's probably just going to get what slightly lower than the franchise tag amount. 14 mil is probably going to be about 13, 14, 12 mil per year. 15 mil is doable, I suppose, for an NFL MVP running back for a team that needs to bid. Like, it's going to be a bidding war. If he actually truly is not doing a handshake deal, which is possible, that Seattle and him are like, look, we're on good terms, right? Yeah. You want to be back here? Yeah. Do we need to tag you? No. And Walker's going to say that, even if Walker's lying to them. He doesn't want to be tagged. No one wants to be tagged. USAF gifted a membership over on Rumble. Appreciate you. No one wants to be tagged because it takes away all your options. But Kenneth Walker is probably a man of his word. And if he said, I'm not going anywhere as long as you offer me the right deal. And if not, then yeah, I'm going to have to explore things. But I can't imagine that, again, as I described, this could be something where we're just not privy to the background information. Because if you're going to pay $14 million a year, that hampers you from doing things. If you do a 3-year deal, all of a sudden you can put a lot of money up front and make that cost of Walker this year on the books a lot lower than 14 mil. And I'm not saying you can't still tag him and then, but that until you get a deal done, like let's say the negotiation hit a snag and it was dragged out, then Seattle can't use all that money because they got it wrapped up in a tag. So the tag isn't smart. The tag is designed not to be used, essentially. The tag was created in the NFL for only quarterbacks. It was never meant to be for any other position but the quarterback position. And so the tag, it locks up so much money on the books so you can't use it during free agency and all that it makes it not an attractive thing to do in general. So unless the player's worth way more, well, Kenneth Walker's not worth way more than his tag. He's worth maybe at most what his tag is per year, which is 14 mil a year. Whereas a quarterback can get tagged, or a wide receiver tag is about 28 to 29 million. And you're paying guys sometimes, 40 or 38 million. So franchise tagging a T. Higgins is a lot cheaper than paying him 40 million a year. However, the contract, if you do a lot of upfront money, drag it out. My best example is that Patrick Mahomes deal, which is a very weird anomaly, but it was a 10-year deal that Mahomes signed for $450 million, but he got paid like under $1 million the first year. He wasn't even getting $1 million the first year, Patrick Mahomes. So that's how you can, the accounting of this thing is important. Mahomes, you're paying Mahomes a salary under $1 million the first 2 years of his contract. You can do a lot of things with that. So there's a chance Kenneth Walker and the Seahawks are fine. And this is just to allow the Seahawks to build around the team. They're still going to give Walker his big fat money, but we just don't know. I'd assume $12 to $15 million per year.
Yeah. Also, get your thoughts on if JSN is playing a factor in this, and do you think they should take him early to avoid the CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase conundrum?
Yes.
Or they just wait.
You never ever want to wait to pay a player. The only thing that this is like auction draft in a fantasy auction. It's like you never want to call out your player at the beginning, and you never want, like, let's say you wanted Bijan. The worst thing you could do is, okay, who's got the first pick to call out the player in the auction? And you go, Bijan. And it's like 70, 75, 81, 83, going once, going twice, 84, going once, going twice, sold, 84. And then the next person is like, okay, Jahmyr Gibbs. They call it Jahmyr Gibbs. Why can't I write today? Jahmyr Gibbs, 65. 68, 70, 71, 75, 75, going once, 75, going twice, 76, 77, sold, $77. And you're like, I just paid 84 for Bijan. Like, that's how it usually goes. So you always want to call your player out as late as you possibly can, establish that baseline, and then it works down from there. And then people spend their money, they get more stingy. But occasionally, that first person goes out, Bijan, and no one knows what to do. And so he goes for $74, right? And then the next person gets called out and it's Gibbs, and he goes for 84. And you're like, what? And then Genti gets called out, and Genti goes for 81. And you're like, bro got Breece Hall for 74. So sometimes that happens. So my point of telling you this is that it's possible that anybody going out, and what was your initial question? I just sidetracked myself.
You're good. That was the
JSN. Okay. So if JSN goes out and gets his deal now, there's a chance he gets, a number that the other guys won't even get. But there's more of a chance from my first example of the auction that he's going to go out there and he's going to get, let's say, 41 million. Sets that bar. If he would have just waited to go after Puka, he might have got 44 a year. So you don't really know. But if you're Seattle, you'd rather not have Puka come out and get $43 million per year. Now JSN's guaranteed $43 million per year. So it is better to get it done early. I do believe that not tagging Walker is related to JSN, either because they don't have enough money in their mind with all the other things that they want to accomplish this offseason to get this extension done, and he will get extended. That extension's coming this offseason. So if they give him that extension, it could be that they didn't want to tie up all that franchise tag money on Walker because they could sign Walker to even $15 million a year if they wanted to, but push a lot of it up front and then drag it out. And now they can sign Walker, give JSN his extension all at the same time by not tagging Walker. Or they want to give JSN his extension. They're going to take Walker's money and use some of that to pay JSN, and that's why they did what they did. Hard to know. It could go either way. Anybody that says that Walker's gone, they don't know what they're talking about. Anybody that says that Walker's coming back to Seattle no matter what, they don't know what they're talking about. Nobody knows what they're talking about because nobody knows. All right, anything else, bro?
That was a great example. That makes sense. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Appreciate you later. All right, who else is on the phone? Rock out. You're live. Rock out.
Yeah, I think we'll probably go to the Chiefs. Likely options.
Yes. Yeah. Chiefs, Saints, Vikings. I don't think he wants to go there. Who wants to go to the Vikings? Nobody. I mean, it would be a good spot. If a running back gets shoved into that spot, it'll be a good spot. But like traded or rookie drafted or player traded there. But man, I mean, no one's gonna pick the Vikings over KC, you know. And some might say I saw somebody, I don't know who said it. They're like, why would anybody want to go to New Orleans? New Orleans is a great place to go because you got Shuck on the rise, you got Olave playing good. It's a good system. It's set up pretty well. But I mean, I guess you could say though, from a winning perspective, you want to win a Super Bowl, you want to get that ring and everything. Who's going to choose New Orleans over KC? Probably nobody. So free agents are going to gravitate toward KC over New Orleans, but New Orleans could offer more money, and then that's when that could potentially take hold. If I had to guess, if I had to guess, is 50-50. Well, I'd say 40% likely Walker's a Chief, 40% likely he is a Seattle Seahawk, and then the rest of it spread out amongst the other teams. Was the Saints and the Commanders probably getting the most love. Honestly, I just don't know if the Commanders want to go get Walker, but I know that if Walker was presented with KC, Minnesota, New Orleans, and Commanders, he picked Commanders second or first. He picked KC probably first or second. That would be my guess, because those are really attractive places to go. Washington's a really attractive place to go. At the Combine, every rookie receiver that was asked, hey, who would you like to catch footballs from? JD5 was mentioned the most. So JD5 is certainly going to be a lure for a lot of players. Even free agents want to go play with JD5, and the Commanders are an attractive place to go land. All right, Bruce, final question. Or I'm sorry, rock out.
No, that's about it.
All right, call in later. Appreciate you, bro.
All
right. Let's say, is this Jorge? You're live? Hello? 5-6.
Smitty.
What's up? You're live. It's your time to shine.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm live. You're live. What can I do for you?
You think Kenny Walker the third? Will he be moved before the draft?
Will he be moved? Kenneth Walker's a free agent.
Not moved. Fine.
Okay. Yes, bro. He'll be signed in about 11 minutes. He'll be signed. It'll be announced before he's even able to officially, like, we'll know he's getting signed. I don't know. I guess it could take a week, but he'll be signed pretty quickly, bro. It'll be rapid speed if he's not going back to Seattle, which he still very well could be a Seattle Seahawk. 40% chance he's a Seahawk, 40% chance he's a Chief, and then the other percentage is mixed in there with a heavy Commander percentage. But we just don't know. If he's signing with Seattle, it could happen really quickly, and if it didn't, it still could happen. You know, it could happen right around where players are getting ripped. But he's not the kind of guy that would sit out there long, bro.
Yeah, what do you think about KC if he goes to KC? I mean, obviously, everybody that's the spot they want him to go. How much does that help them?
Top 6 to 10 running back. He's a top 6 to 10 running back. The Chiefs are an unbelievable team. He's got to prove he can stay healthy on a full workload. We'll see. But I love him.
Thing about Mahomes?
What do you mean?
Like, on point to get back in time?
Yeah, he's on track. Bro, he's going to be fine. And even if he missed a game or two, which he probably will not, he'll be fine. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's out there putting in massive amount of hours per day on his rehab. This is the kind of person that does not... He's all business, bro. People are joking around. He's always business. He's always out there. The moment they win a Super Bowl or lose a Super Bowl or lose a playoff game, he's literally on to the next season immediately. This guy's all business. If anybody thinks the only reason he won't be ready for week 1 is if he has a setback, which we can't control. He's gonna be healthy. He's gonna look better than everybody expects. We're gonna hear comments like he looks like he never even tore his ACL. That's how good he's gonna be. Now, will he be dialed back from running a lot? Yes, they're going to dial him back on that his first year. He's not going to probably run for half the yards or less that he did last year, maybe way more. or maybe way less, because you don't want to re-injure your knee. You're not truly 100% until 1 calendar year of playing on the knee. Even if you can kind of produce 100% of your normal volume, your knee's still not 100%. It's kind of like if you break your or if you have a strained muscle or something and you're still playing, you can play through it. You might still play your best game you've ever played, but you still have a strained muscle. You're compensating. They don't want this guy going out there and compensating and tearing his other ACL or hamstrings are notorious with ACL recoveries when you're compensating. That's why running backs that tear an ACL, they come back the next year and they get hit with hamstring injuries if they're not fully trusting the knee. Because when you don't trust the knee, you pull back on it. When you pull back on it, you cause not only a hamstring injury potentially in that leg because it's weaker. You've been holding back on it. You're consistently not trusting it, so it's never really building to the full strength that it needs to because you're always holding it back. But you're also putting, when you compensate and you hold back, you're also putting tremendous stress on your other leg, and then that's when that hamstring can go. So hamstrings are always a concern. Injury is going to be a concern for Mahomes or any player coming back from an ACL tear. But if anybody's going to walk in at complete trust with the knee, no hamstring worries, it would probably be Mahomes. All right, last question. I got to go.
I just had one more comment. I just think Mahomes will be straight. I think he'll do his running when he gets to the playoffs.
Yeah. He'll pick it up. Yeah, he'll pick it up. He'll be key. He'll be clutch again in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. There's a chance they don't, but they probably will. It's a very tough conference, bro, in tough division. I mean, it's brutal when you think about this the wild card race. If Denver or the Chargers win the division, and these are 3 really tough teams, you can't say that one of them is a lock to win the division. And let's say the Broncos or the Chargers win the division. The easiest thing is for the Chiefs to win the division to get in the playoffs, because you've got literally the other 2 teams locking up 2 of the only 3 wild card spots, probably. So you've got the mother freaking Patriots and Bills competing, one of those competing for the other spot that's left. You got the we'll see what the Steelers are. You got the Ravens and the Bengals. The Jaguars are kind of by themselves unless the Colts, Danny Dimes can really prove he's healthy. So the Jaguars win the division. Nobody else goes to the playoffs in that division. You've got 2 teams here. You got 3 teams here, and you got 2 teams here. So it's going to be tough sledding to get that wild card spot. So the Chiefs need to win the division. All right, gotta go, my boy. See you later. Appreciate you calling in. I'm out of here. Appreciate every single one of you. We'll be back. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Let me go over to Rumble real quick. See what my Rumblers are doing. See you later. 420 man's currently the highest super chatter of the year.
You've just been
the highest super chatter of the year. Gets to be in the trade calculator on thefantasyfootballshow.com. And for those that don't know, thefantasyfootballshow.com has been completely revamped with a new trade calculator, new tools, new everything. If you don't think this is the best site in the fantasy football game, I'm shocked. I've got player pages for every player. The rankings linked to the player pages. The rankings are red line rankings now. The draft simulator's up. You can simulate Superflex, non-Superflex, Keeper, Dynasty. You can enter keepers. You can remove players from the draft board if you just want to say, everybody keeps one guy, but we don't write the keepers in. Then you'll select the enter keeper option where you remove them from the actual draft list and you just do a normal draft. I've thought of everything. These player pages are the best player pages you will find. Trade calculator, lineup calculator, everything you can think of over there on thefantasyfootballshow.com. And I'm tweaking it all day long. I'll be at work waiting for news to go live, tweaking things, writing content, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Go check it out. See you all later. Appreciate you. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, as you can see up at the top here. Live at midnight Eastern almost every single night, and then live whenever big news breaks. Go check out the Patreon as well, where you can talk 365, 24/7 football. Check out the sponsors below, please. And, We're going to be drafting tonight on Underdog. Promo code Smitty. Underdog will match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. So make sure you click the link in the live in the description, or use code Smitty to get yourself all ready to go for the ball, Cinderella. So go check it out. New merch with the new logo is in the description as well, or you just go to YouTube, or you just go to thefantasyfootballshow.com/merch. See you all later. Email me, Silver. Later.